Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 2 by Napoleon Hill. He says desire is the starting point to all success, to all achievement. And he was basically pointing out that you got to visualize, you got to have an imagination. You know, even if you don't have nothing and it seems what people would call unrealistic, you can't think like that. You got to see it, because only when you see something, it'll come into the physical. So even these phones we holding, at one point in time, it would have seemed impossible to have a phone. Like, I remember growing up and having just house phones. There was no cell phone. But now we got cell phones. We got apps on them. They touch screen. You can control things in the house with them. But at one point in time, that was impossible. One time it was impossible. Well, it was thought to be impossible to turn a light on in the house. It was one point seemed impossible to have a flying plane in the air with passengers on it. At one point, it seemed impossible to, travel without a horse. So you have to be able to visualize, and you have to have what he refers to as a definiteness of purpose. And all that means is you got to be for sure. You got to be certain. And no plan Bs. You can't be like, well, if this don't work, I'll just try this. And anything with that type of state of mind, you already setting yourself up for failure. No plan Bs. It gotta work. And he was giving an example on how this dude, he burnt the bridge behind them, where they were going to a battle. And he was like, we either gotta win or perish. And of course they won, because they didn't get themselves a chance to turn back and retreat. You can't retreat, right? And then I'm gonna give y'all these 6 principles. He said that you gotta use these practical principles that you could use to achieve money, right? And we're gonna go through them step by step, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. It was too much to remember. Now, the first thing he said is you gotta fix in your mind the exact amount of money that you want. So whatever the quantity of money it is that you want, you gotta determine that. Second, he said you have to determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire, right? So nothing's for free. You gotta give back, right? Third, you have to establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So you got to be like, by December, by January, by Saturday, by this year, I want to have this money, right? Fourth, you got to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. You got to start at once, whether you're ready or not, to put the plan into action. So you have to plan. I do that all the time. I write things down and execute them. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Okay? And sixth, read that statement out loud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see, and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. And then this was like one of the coldest parts of the chapter, though, right? Napoleon Hill's son, a doctor told his son that when he was born, he wouldn't be able to hear or speak. Now, Napoleon Hill said that he made Mother Nature bend to the will of desire. So he wasn't trying to hear that, what the doctor was saying. So what he did was he basically gave his son his desire for him to hear and for him to speak. His son did not have ears. He did not have ears. Um, but he kept he noticed through time of him willing himself for his son to hear, that his son started hearing little by little. He could hear at a distance. Even if you was loud, it sounded far away. But just the fact that he could do that let him know that, his desire for him to hear and speak was feasible. You know. So as time went on, they allowed him to just be normal. They didn't handicap him. They didn't allow him to be handicapped. They even told him, well, not them, Napoleon told his son that he had an advantage over his quote unquote healthier brother. So he wound up believing it. He wound up believing it. And so when he gave them, what excuse me, the big brother was selling newspapers. So the one that was quote unquote deaf and mute wanted to sell newspapers. His mom was like, hell nah, you ain't selling no newspapers. So Napoleon wound up telling him like, hey, people will basically they'll mess with you if you start selling them. So against his mother's wishes, he wound up doing his own route. He borrowed some money, went out, got the money, flipped the money, and when he came back, his mom was upset and she was mad about it. But Napoleon was tripping like, see, what I'm telling him worked. Not only that, he wound up getting older, and he did wind up getting I guess what they call it, a hearing aid, and it got to the point where he was able to hear. So again, he like, damn, like he can hear now, and he can hear so clearly. But it didn't stop there. He wound up meeting the manufacturers of the hearing aid he got, and he wound up teaching all the people who was quote unquote handicapped like him, or so-called handicapped like him, into being able to hear and speak. And he taught them the same way that his father, Napoleon Hill, the author, taught him. So, take that and do with it what you want.